Hello Sagittarius, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll look at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it. The concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section will be looking at what is the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation, and to leave what does not. On that note, and especially if you are a cross watcher, just know that this whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Sagittarius, let's jump on in. We are going to start with looking at your side of this connection to the person you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We're going to look at the connection through oracle cards first. So we'll look at your energy, their energy, and the energy in between it with oracle cards. And then we'll dive deeper into the connection with tarot as we progress. But let's first see here Sagittarius's energy toward this person. Sparks. Ooh. Boundaries with optimism. You're not quite sure what to make of this. I feel like you're stuck here between desiring this connection, but also protecting yourself from getting hurt in a lot of ways. I think that there are a lot of intense feelings that you do carry for this connection, but I almost feel at the same time as if there are things that are making you really cautious. And I feel like you're really struggling with knowing how to proceed here, or like what to make of this. It's kind of ambiguous. I don't know what's going on here. This person's energy toward you. Patience. Soulmate recognition with communication. This person cares deeply about this connection. However, their energy toward it is very like calculated. That's the best way I can describe it. Not necessarily in a manipulative sense, but I do feel as if this person is being very careful in their approach to this and withholding a lot. There's a lot of withholding here, especially of communication. I think that they care more about this connection than you think that they do. But I also feel as if, I feel like they struggle a lot with openness, with vulnerability, with really putting themselves out there. So I feel like they're trying to make this connection work while maintaining control, meaning not having to open themselves up to vulnerability, which it goes that's the opposite of intimacy, like healthy relationships. Like you have to have vulnerability here. So I feel like that energy is what makes you feel really cautious about this, because it kind of feels almost as if I feel like you feel as if this person is holding back, which makes you kind of put your guard up, because although you have a desire for this connection, I feel at the same time you also feel a little bit worried about where this person stands, or ultimately what they're going to do or how they're going to show up. Truth of the connection between Sagittarius and this person. interference and separation. So this is a connection that's currently in separation. And you see this as something that's in the way of this. And I think that this is what makes you really cautious about this. This feels really out of your control. I'm interested like what this this patience card is really representing for this person. Because I feel, like I said, like I use the word calculated, but I feel like there's like another side to it. I don't know. There's something karmic about this cycle here, about this this situation. Which karma isn't a punishment. It's something that our soul is calling us to learn in the moment. It's interesting because I do feel that they view you as a soulmate, as the soulmate energy. Like they view you as somebody who's really important, but you wouldn't know that because of how they show up. Overall theme of this. Now we have many different soulmates in this life. And they're here, all here to teach us something. Lessons are being taught. That's really funny. So they were all here to teach us something. Lessons are being taught. So this is kind of that karmic gas. I said karma isn't a punishment. It's something our soul is calling us to learn. And then seeing that lessons are being taught here. There's something that this connection is calling you to see, a way that it's pushing you to grow, to heal. I was disillusioned. I feel like what's hard is you see this person as one person, but the way they show up is someone very different. So it kind of feels like there's this disconnect between like who you know they can be and then the version of them that shows up. Which I feel like is, again, one of the things that makes it, and that's the energy, is I feel like you have a lot of like strong feelings and draw toward the person you know that they can be, but you feel like you have to protect yourself from the version of them that shows up, from like who they are right now. All right, let's look here, Sagittarius, at your side of this, boundaries with sparks. Sagittarius' side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. Page of Cups. Judgment in reverse. Justice in reverse. So you feel as if you've gotten a little bit screwed over here. I feel like that's to say the least. I feel like you show up with this Page of Cups energy. It's very open, it's very honest, it's very giving. And I feel that you felt as if you were in a safe space to do that with this person, but then something happened that made you feel almost as if that's the disillusion part. Almost as if you made a mistake here. I feel like this person really triggered some trust issues. I feel that you saw them, like I said, as a certain person, but how they have showed up has been someone very different, which is kind of in a sense made you feel a little bit like unsafe in the connection, like emotionally. Because I feel as if, and that's the trust thing, I feel like you struggle to trust. Because with this boundaries card, I'm kind of getting that 5 of Swords energy. Not so much 7 of Wands. Like I feel like, boundaries, typically I kind of see that in the 7 of Wands. But this like in this channeling that I'm doing in this energy, I see this more as like the Five of Swords, which is kind of this defensive, this feeling of having to protect yourself, this feeling of being wronged. Like, I feel like you're carrying that in this connection, and I feel almost as if you were kind of blindsided by it in a way, because I feel as if you felt like this person was going to be different than how they ended up showing up. What the heck happened here? Oh my gosh. The Five of Swords. I literally said with this boundaries card, I'm getting the Five of Swords. And then the Five of Swords comes out. Which just to me kind of confirms that that's what I'm feeling. Sagittarius' side of the connection here. The High Priestess in reverse. I feel like you feel a little bit like trapped right now, because I feel, this is the best way I can explain it, I feel like you feel you got bamboozled, almost as if like you were led to this person, or you met this person and you felt like it was going to finally be, you know, what you wanted it to be, and then things turned out so different from what it is that you expected here. So I feel like in addition to, you know, these trust issues kind of coming to the surface here, I feel like you're also really struggling to trust your intuition right now, because you feel so, like, again, like just kind of so screwed over. But then again, it's like you still have feelings here. You still have a desire, even if you don't want to. The Empress. I feel like you're trying to take care of yourself. You're trying to prioritize yourself, which is good. But I also see this Empress as how you showed up in this connection. Warm, loving, compassionate, understanding, empathetic. And then it just feels like getting screwed over. And I think you're trying to make sense of that. And yeah, with this Page of Wands here, I feel like it's triggering some inner child wounding too. I don't know what happened here. But I do feel as if there's a need to understand what is being represented and what happened here. I'm trying to figure out the best cards to take. Because this didn't happen for no reason. Let's look at this person's energy toward you. I love when tarot confirms like that. Like when I feel an energy and a card comes out, I think it makes it so fun. Not that this is like the most fun reading, but the process of actually doing the reading. All right, this person's energy toward you. Four of Wands in reverse. The Tower. There it is, the Emperor in reverse. I said that this person aimed for control over vulnerability, and there it is, the Emperor in reverse. And I think that through that created some sort of tower in this connection, made decisions that chose control over vulnerability. I feel like they have so much care for this connection, but I also feel that they don't know how to allow, like how to let other people in, or like how to allow themselves to, you know, surrender, to be vulnerable, to ultimately build like further intimacy here. And so I think how things unfolded, what was really hard for you is, you know, you saw how, because I do feel like you know that this person does care about you, like deep down. I do feel like you know that, like whether that's intuitively, I don't know. But I also feel that the way that they show up, it doesn't make you feel as if they care because, well, they're not necessarily showing up in a healthy way for the connection, in a way that allows this connection to grow, in a way that allows this to evolve. And they show up in the Emperor in reverse energy. And that creates a lot of challenges for the connection because it always makes it almost makes it impossible for anything to build here. With this Four of Wands in reverse energy, to me, I'm kind of seeing this as like the mindset that this person carries around relationships. I feel like they take the approach of always trying to protect themselves from getting hurt. So in protecting themselves from getting hurt, that's what, yeah, it's almost like this person actually has some pretty deep-seated trust issues. And not because of you or anything like that, just from their past. So because of that, I feel like they don't trust you to not wrong them in some way. And I think because of that, that's where they lack the ability to be vulnerable, the ability to let you in. That's why they opt for control. But then that ends up actually making things worse in the long run, because then it's like they end up hurting themselves through this behavior. And I think what you're seeing them through the lens of like the version of them that they could be if, you know, they healed, right? If they addressed, you know, these things that caused them to show up in this way and started to show up in a healthy way. And I think that, you know, it's hard because and this is what I said at the very beginning, you're holding on to that version of them, but yet you feel like you have to protect them from the version of them that they are now. The version of them that controls, the version of them that lacks the ability to be vulnerable. You know, how somebody shows up in a connection is not a reflection of how they feel about you. And I think that's really important for you to know. And sometimes we ask that question, right? Especially with tarot. I get it all the time. How does this person feel about me? How do they view me? How do they see me? It's like we ask the wrong questions, because we ask how somebody feels about us, yet somebody can love you, be infatuated with you, have feelings for you all day long. But if they aren't doing the work and the healing, none of that matters, because they won't be able to show up for it. They will always show up in avoidance. They'll show up in wounding. They'll show up in, you know, self-sabotage. And so I feel like what you're needing to shift focus toward here is understanding that this isn't about this person acting a certain way because they don't care about you. This person is acting a certain way because they have a lot of deep-seated things that they haven't addressed. Now, every relationship is a mirror, and it's showing us certain things about ourselves that need to be addressed. So I feel like the purpose of this is to help kind of move you in the direction of healing too, so that you can have the love that you do desire. But let's get more here. This person's energy toward you, Five of Wands. This person is in this like constant inner battle with themselves. They have a desire for the connection, yet the fear of vulnerability that causes them to act in a way that pushes it away. And look at that. That's coming from their own inner child wounding. It's almost like their inner child wounding then sparks, like triggers your inner child wounding, and it just kind of becomes a mess here. I feel like this is how they view you. Queen of Swords and Queen of Pentacles. it's almost like they admire you a lot. I feel like they view you as someone who's really intelligent, really stable. I feel like you bring up certain inadequacies in them. It's like they see you actually through such like a good lens that you make them feel inadequate in a lot of ways. So then this triggers feelings of them not feeling good enough for you, which makes them act in a way that then makes you feel like they think that you're not good enough for them. But it's not, that's not that they're not, or you're not good enough for them. It's actually the opposite. I feel like they admire you a lot. They definitely view you as somebody that's very secure, like very stable, very secure. And this Queen of Swords is like very intelligent, very like sharp. And then, yeah, it's almost like this pokes at their own self-doubt and starts to bring up insecurities in them. And I think because of that, then that starts to spark those that inner child wounding of they already don't feel good enough. And then the way that you show up makes them feel even more so not good enough. And not because you're doing anything wrong, but because people are always going to view situations through their own insecurities. And it's interesting because I feel like you do see this person for who they really are, and I feel like you love them for who they really are, but I also feel at the same time, as if you struggle with how they do show up here. This person's energy towards Sagittarius. You also could be dealing with earth sign and air sign energy. So Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, Libra, Aquarius, Gemini. I was like, why am I blinking? Or you could have those in your charts, because I actually feel like this is more about you than it is about them. This person's energy toward you. This person has a lot of growing to do. A lot of healing to do. I feel like they kind of, they have this childish nature about them. Not that they're a childish person, but I do feel as if they, it's like they have a lot of growing to do, because I do feel as if they act very emotionally, sometimes very irrationally. And I think that makes things even more so, like, more complicated for you. But I feel like the root of this is understanding that how this person shows up, like, isn't a reflection of your value or your worth or even how they feel about you. It's a reflection of where they're at, right? Like, and this is what I've learned is we think that we want somebody that we're like attracted to or that we can have fun with. But what we want is somebody who has the capacity to give and receive love in a healthy way, the capacity to deal with uncomfortable emotions and to not allow their traumas and their triggers to make decisions for them, that can process in a healthy way and respond in a healthy way, that doesn't shut down or push you away when things get challenging. And I feel like that's kind of what happened. I do feel like as if this person kind of shut down, is pushing you away in a lot of ways. And I think in some way, and that's the thing here. And I think that that's what you're needing to kind of, it feels like you're holding on to an illusion here. An illusion of who this person could be. And you're seeing them through that illusion. But the more you hold on to that illusion, the more you get your heart broken by the version of them that they're capable of showing up as right now. Like, everybody has the capacity to be the best version of themselves, and everybody has the capacity to be the worst version of themselves, right? And depending on the growth that we've done, the healing that we've done, the phase of our journey that we're in, like, that's going to determine where we fall. And where somebody falls doesn't mean they don't have the capacity to show up different. What it does mean is that that's what they're capable of right now. And the decisions that we make have to be based on who somebody shows us that they are. And we have to understand that if somebody doesn't show up in the way that we deserve, in a way that aligns with us, it means that that connection isn't meant for us in that moment. It means, because what is meant for you will never require you to self-abandon. And accepting less than what you deserve is self-abandonment at its core. And what we accept, we attract more of. So I feel like there's a need to approach this from a little bit of a different place, to understand what's going on here a little bit more, a little deeper, and to make sure that you're prioritizing yourself over potential, the potential that you see in this person, in this connection, because that's ultimately going to lead you to the love that you deserve, whether it exists in this connection or in someone different. We attract the love that we deserve not by finding the right person, but by being the right person for ourselves, showing up with love for ourselves, making sure that we are, choosing and valuing ourselves in the way that we wish to be chosen and valued. And the more that we do that, the more that we attract relationships with people that will choose us and will value us in the way that we deserve. So I think that, you're obviously feeling a little hurt here. And I think that you're trying to understand like why this person would do the things that they did or treat you the way that they have. This doesn't have anything to do with you. This has everything to do with where they're at. And that doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt or that it doesn't suck. But what it does mean is that, if we're willing to approach this from a place of, what is this trying to teach me? How is this helping me heal, grow, evolve? Then you can be led to the love that you deserve and desire, one way or another, which we're going to dive more into in the extended. We're going to look at the deeper purpose of this and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. You have separation with interference. Any information for, we're going to dive deeper into this, looking at the deeper purpose, ultimately of like why this is appearing in your life. And I think that because if we don't look at the deeper purpose, then we're always going to find ourselves repeating certain cycles in our life. So when we can understand why something has happened and what's in our power and our control to move forward, we can break those cycles and we can show up in a way that attracts, healthier relationships or relationships that are able to meet us where we deserve to be met. So anyway, I don't know. I felt like I needed to expand on that, but any information for that is in the description box below. As always, Sagittarius, thank you so much for your support of me as a reader. I obviously hope that this helped and resonated with you, and I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Sagittarius.